Imam Jallo, you have the floor.
الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين إهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين الحمد لله هادنا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هادنا الله الأول والآخر والزاخر والباطن يا ربنا لك الحمد يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي وجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد خاتم النبيين وإمام المرسلين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.
Thank you very much, Imam Jallo. Bishop Odeko, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Lord God of mercy, of grace, of compassion, of love, of forgiveness, and of reconciliation, we thank you for seeing us throughout the past week and for bringing us to the beginning of another new week. We continue to bring this nation before you and the sittings of the TRRC. As we continue, Lord, we pray that your Holy Spirit will guide and direct all the witnesses that will be presented here so that they will speak the truth, and that, Lord, that will help us to bring about healing, reconciliation, reparation, and justice for all. We ask that your mercy will fall mightily upon us, and that your love will embrace each and every one. Now this we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Bishop Odeko. Council, are we ready with this morning's witness? If we are, you may proceed to get him in.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning to all of you. We are ready to proceed. May I ask the usher to bring in the witness? Thank you.
I, SULAYMAN ALIEU,
I, SULAYMAN ALIEU,
do swear that
do swear that
I will speak the truth,
I speak the truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank
you. You may be seated, please. Mr. Jack, welcome to the TRRC. First of all, allow me to take this opportunity to thank you for coming all the way from Addis Ababa in Ethiopia to appear before the Commission. Thank you very much for that. I know that you are very soft-spoken like me, so I'd encourage you to speak into the microphone. Perhaps you may draw it closer such that all here would hear what you have to say. Could you kindly tell us your full names, please?
My name is SULAYMAN ALIEU Jack.
What is your date of birth?
15 July 1948.
Where were you born?
I was born in Banjul.
Where did you attend primary and secondary education?
I attended Mohammedan Primary School in Banjul and Gambia High School also in Banjul.
Can you tell us the years, please, if possible?
It's been a while.
If you can't remember, you can be forgiven.
I think I went to the Gambia High School in 1961. Yeah, 61.
Would it be safe to say that you went to University of Ife in Nigeria and graduated in 1973?
Yeah, that's correct.
And what degree did you attain?
History and political science, combined honors.
Bachelor of Arts.
Yeah, Bachelor of Arts.
Honors in history and political science.
Yeah, that's correct.
And what did you do after graduation from Ife in 1973?
I returned home, joined the civil service, and was appointed as an executive officer and posted to Georgetown as assistant commissioner.
Which ministry would that fall under at the time?
It was Ministry for Local Government and Lands.
And how long did you serve in Georgetown?
For about 4 months, and then I was transferred to the Ministry of External Affairs.
In which position?
As assistant secretary.
And for how long did you serve in that position?
After a year, I was awarded a scholarship. I went to Glasgow to do my master's and came back in 1976.
With which qualification?
Master of Philosophy in Politics.
That would be MPhil in
MPhil,
politics.
yeah.
And you returned back to Gambia, I imagine, after your
did.
course.
Yeah, I did.
And where did you go this time to work?
I was assistant secretary again at the president's office. And
In 1976, right?
yeah.
And kindly tell us briefly your career in the civil service until you left the civil service. We would go into the seminal events thereafter, but just give us a detailed chronology of the positions you held up to the point that you left the civil service.
I was at the president's office for a couple of years, and then I served at the Ministry of Water Resources when it was created in 1981. From there, I went to Basse as commissioner, Upper River Division. I came back and...
Do you recall the dates? If you don't recall them, that's fine.
I think I was in Basse until 1984. And I came back, I was redeployed to the Ministry of Economic Planning as Deputy Permanent Secretary. From there, I was transferred to the Ministry of External Affairs as Deputy Permanent Secretary.
Do you recall the year?
Up to 1989.
Mm-hmm. And then? Please go ahead.
1989, I moved on to the Ministry for I was promoted as Permanent Secretary, Ministry for Local Government and Lands.
In 1989?
Yeah.
So you started your career in the civil service in 1973?
Yeah, yes.
And in 1989, you became Permanent Secretary for the first time?
Yeah, that's correct.
That is 16-year period, isn't it?
Yeah, about that. Those days you have to serve for quite a while before you become a permanent secretary.
No, I mean it's quite interesting. It's a little bit of a digression, but here you are at a point when Gambia had very, very few graduates. You had a master's in MPhil from Glasgow. It took you 16 years to become permanent secretary. I could see from your biography that you have served in various ministries and have worked in various parts of the country, Georgetown and Basse including, first as executive officer and later as commissioner. Could you just explain why that happened?
Well, I think we had a civil service at the time that was model along the British civil service. You have to go through some tutoring, you have to go through some mentoring, and you have to go, I don't know, it's difficult to explain, but that was how the system worked. It was not, you have to prove yourself before you could be promoted.
In a sense, you were saying one had to gather a lot of experience and one had to have a good grounding on how government functioned before one reaches the high position of permanent secretary. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah. And we were lucky that we had some very seasoned civil servants who brought us along the line all the way to the top. We had the likes of Eric Christensen, Mustafa Sose, Demandau, and Jebes Langley, Ted Sau, seasoned civil servants.
You became permanent secretary in 1989 for the first time.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened from that period onwards to your career.
From '89, I was transferred to the Ministry of External Affairs. I was at the Ministry of External Affairs until 1992. 92, I moved to the Ministry of Defense, to the Office of the Vice President and Ministry of Defense.
So which were you, permanent secretary for Ministry of Defense or permanent secretary for Office of the Vice President and Minister of Defense?
Yeah. Permanent secretary, Office of the Vice President and Minister of Defense, Ministry of Defense.
That was a big position, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a very...
Your responsibilities included civilian oversight for defense and also running of the Office of the Vice President, correct?
Yes, who was at the same time the minister responsible for women's affairs.
Did he also have another function?
Yeah, he was also the leader of government business in the House of Representatives, in Parliament.
In Parliament. Would your responsibilities also have anything to do with that?
Oh yeah, because I was had to make sure that parliamentary questions were answered by the various ministries, collate them, and advise the Vice President and the Minister on issues that are bills that are coming before Parliament.
And by July 22nd, 1994, you were still permanent secretary, Ministry of Defense.
Yeah, that's correct.
What happened to your career after that?
After that, 3 months after the military takeover, the junta retired about 7 permanent secretaries, and I was one of them.
And what did you do after your retirement? From Gambia government, of course.
Oh, I worked at, I was helping my dad to run his business. And then afterwards, I left the country and went to the UK. I was joined the United Nations in 1998 or so, 99, I think. We met in Timor. Yeah, that was...
I was honored.
Yeah, that was my first UN assignment. I was in Timor, and then after my...
By Timor, of course, you mean East Timor.
Yeah, Timor-Leste, yeah. Timor-Leste.
And you worked in East Timor for how long?
Until 2000.
In which capacity?
Yeah, I was the district administrator of a region or a Ainaro district. You know.
You are the head, the local government administrator pretty much for Ainaro district.
No, at first I was the deputy.
Deputy.
Yeah, then afterwards I was made the head.
The head of Ainaro district. Thank you very much. And what did you do after East Timor?
After East Timor, I went back to the UK and later on was appointed a member of the observer team of the Nigerian Cameroon Mixed Commission, who was responsible for the implementation of the ICJ ruling on their border dispute. So I was there until 2000, and then I went to, I have to recollect my memory, from East Timor, from the Nigerian Cameroon Mixed Commission, I went to Darfur as a senior political advisor.
In Darfur?
In Darfur, yeah, the UNAMID.
Okay.
United Nations, African Union, United Nations mission in Darfur. I was there from 2008 to 2011.
And what did you do after that?
After Darfur, virtually I was just doing consultancy work for the UN and some other agencies.
And what position do you hold now?
Now I'm the ambassador to Ethiopia and a permanent representative to the AU and the UNECA.
That is Gambia's ambassador?
Gambia's ambassador, yes.
And you were appointed when?
I was appointed in 2017, May 2017.
Wonderful. Illustrious career you have, Mr. Jack. But in 1994, you were retired from the Gambia government. Can you tell us how that happened?
I think when the junta took over, their strategy was to remove the old guards, the civil servants who were there, and bring in new people.
But that arose as a result of a change of government, coup d'etat, in which Yahya Jammeh became chairman of the AFPRC, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Could you kindly tell us, from what you know, what factors led to the coup d'etat in 1994, looking at things from your position as permanent secretary, Ministry of Defense?
That's my own analysis, my own observations.
Yes, Mr. Jack, yes. Okay. Your personal observations, correct.
I think the political situation in the country overall was a bit fluid, and especially after the 1992 PPP Congress, and the former president.
Where was that Congress held?
It was in Mansakonko. Then I was not in the Ministry of Defense. I was in the Ministry of External Affairs at the time. Was it 2092 or 90? I can't remember the exact date, but there was this famous Mansakonko conference when the former president announced that he was going to step down. It was not 92, it was before 92.
1990.
Yeah, it was in 90, yeah. So the former president announced that he was going to step down, and later he changed his mind.
Were you present in that Congress?
No.
You were not. But you heard that he announced that he was going to step down?
Yeah, it was possible.
Yes. How was that received, his decision to step down, as far as you know?
Well, I guess within the party, some welcomed it, others did not. And I think pressure was exerted and on him, and he eventually changed his mind and stood at the 1992 elections. So the political situation was rather fluid. There was a lot of division. There was division within the PPP and a lot of rivalries. Political allegiances.
Jack, you are before the Commission of Inquiry, the TRRC. So just say it as it is. It's your personal opinion, nobody's opinion. Just say it as it is.
Yeah, there were divisions within the PPP. Some people were not happy, did not feel comfortable with the former Vice President, Mr. Bakari Dabo, taking over the leadership of the PPP. Because let's remember that he was Vice President for over 10 years, and he was seen as a natural successor. But within the party itself, there were people who would not countenance Mr. Dabo leading the party and eventually, becoming the head of state. So that's the political aspect of the situation.
Did the situation change when Sir Dawda ran in the next election in 1992?
Yeah, I think it changed drastically because he appointed a vice president in the person of Mr. Sekou Sabali, and virtually surrendered all his responsibilities to him. Because remember, the president was the Minister of Defense and Minister for Women's Affairs. So he appointed a new vice president, and transferred the defense and women affairs responsibility to Mr. Sabali, and that did not go down well with lots of people.
Let's try to put Mr. Sabali's new position after the 1992 elections in plain terms. He was appointed vice president.
Correct.
He was appointed Minister of Defense.
Correct.
He was appointed Minister responsible for women affairs.
Correct.
He was also leader of the majority or leader of government business in Parliament.
Yeah.
And essentially, therefore, he was like de facto prime minister. Would you say that?
Yeah, yes, I would say that. In fact, there were rumors that the president was going to abolish or change the constitution to appoint a prime minister, and abolish the post of vice president, and instead, have a prime minister. But it never materialized.
But this portfolio that was carried by Sekou Sabali essentially made him the most powerful person in government after the president.
After the president, yeah, I would say that.
And how was this position of Sabali perceived by political opponents, if you know?
I wouldn't know. All I can say that, before he was appointed, to those positions, he had a court case against a journalist.
Which journalist?
I think it was Sanamane. Sanamane was taken to court for defamation. Yeah, I think it was.
Do you recall what Sanamane said that resulted in a defamation case against him? In general terms.
No, I can't remember the allegations, no.
Is it the case, is it not, that he alleged corruption against Sekou Sabali?
Yeah, corruption, but I don't know the nature of,
But in general terms, the allegations against Sabally was that he was corrupt.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you recall what the outcome of the case was?
I think Sulayman won the case. You know, the case was dismissed.
And do you know whether that affected Sabali's reputation in any which way?
In a way, yes.
In which way?
I mean, because he was perceived to be, you know, not, you know, when you have such allegations of corruption leveled against you, you take the matter to court and the court dismissed your, you know, I mean, your case, then there's some element of truth, apparently, in what was being alleged against you. So there were lots of rumors and lots of innuendos about Mr. Sabally and his, you know, I mean, corrupt practices.
So there were lots of rumors against Mr. Sabally about his corrupt practices, quote unquote. That's what you say. Did that make him very popular in the party, in the PPP party at the time, as far as you can tell?
I wouldn't know really, because they are just allegations, you know, I mean, and as civil servants, we are not really into politics.
Could you say that again? That is very important, what you have just said. As a civil servant, what?
We were not involved in political affairs as such. I mean, as citizens, of course, we know, we hear what was going on in the country, but to say that we were simply, you know, civil servants, you know, like any other Gambian. We knew what was the rumors that were going on, the allegations, but I think that's where, you know.
As civil servants, you would not overtly engage in politics.
Oh, no.
You seem shocked by that, Mr. Jack. Could you say?
As civil servants, we are apolitical. This, you know, the civil service at the time was apolitical. We were not part of we were not members of any party. Well, you can vote, you can be a member of a political party, but you do not attend political events. You do not go to rallies, you do not go to meetings, you know, you do not manifest open support for any political party. That was the civil service that we were brought up.
How about attending the airport when the president travels and so allegiance? Would you do that as part of your work, civil servants?
No, only the Secretary General and the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs would go to the airport. Other civil servants, I think they have other responsibilities.
Say it, Mr. Jack. Say these things are important. Say it as it is. I mean.
No, I mean only the Secretary General and the Permanent Secretary, External Affairs, would go to the airport when the president was traveling or was returning to Banjul, or when you are visiting heads of states. Other civil servants were not required to go to the airport. That was, I mean, going to the airport to see off the president or to receive him was seen more as a political matter rather than a civil service matter.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jack. I think that is a very important point to note. I mean, the culture has obviously changed in Gambia, and maybe this is one of the issues that the Commission should look into with a view to making recommendations on that. Because what we have seen in the latter years of Jammeh was that top civil servants had to show political alliance and would go to the airport to see off or receive the president. Perhaps this is one issue that the Commission should look into. Yes, so Mr. Jack, you've described a political situation in which in 1992, Mr. Sehu Sabali was basically a de facto prime minister with all those powers. But he had lost this case against Mr. Sanamane, in which allegations of corruption were made against Sehu Sabali. Could you tell us how Sehu Sabali was perceived in the defense sector, particularly in the army at the time?
Let me say, if I recall correctly, the case, Sanamane case, was before he was made vice president.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, let's make
That's
that
right.
clear. Yeah, within the army, I don't think he was very popular also within with the officer corps and the ranks, all because of the allegations and the rumors that were being that were circulating at the time about his behavior, about his record. But still, he was made vice president and minister of defense. So he wasn't popular within the army, within the armed forces.
So, at the point of the coup d'etat in 1994, how would you sum up the political situation in the country?
Like I said, there was a lot of uncertainty as to who would eventually succeed President Jawara when he leaves the scene. You know, the political, the PPP was there were different factions within the PPP, and
Which ones?
the PPP, there were different factions.
Which were the factions you referred to?
There was the Bakari Dabo faction, and there was another faction. You know, I wouldn't say who was. There was the Sehu Sabali faction, of course, when he was made vice president, because he was trying to consolidate. Excuse me. He was trying to consolidate his political base, you know, and spread out to eventually, you know, contest for the presidency if the opportunity arose.
Now let's talk about the army. What was the state of the Gambia National Army as at the time of the coup d'etat?
You had there was a lot of dissatisfaction within the army at that time in terms of facilities, in terms of the amenities that are expected of a military organization. Accommodation was not up to scratch. There was not as that affected the issue of regimentation. Most of the soldiers lived outside. And
outside of
the barracks. So they lived at private homes, and this also created a problem in terms of their movement from office, from home to office, home to the barracks, barracks to the office at the close of business. You would see them lining the street, you know, trying to get a lift to go home or to go to the barracks, you know. So there was a lot of dissatisfaction, and it was not. It was something that the ministry tried to address, but resources were not available. They were not made available. So, and related to that, also, we had the case of the Nigerian Army Training Team and assuming command of the Army, not only as Army commander, but also as unit commanders, you know, most of the positions that Gambian officers should have occupied.
We would come back to this. We would come back to to talk about what were the arrangements between the Gambia government and Nigeria with regards to the army, both MAT and NATAG, and how those arrangements came about, and their content. We have received the necessary documentation, so we would deal with that in a separate session. A lot of the documents are, of course, labeled secret, so which means that they cannot be addressed publicly in a public hearing. But we will see what to make of that. But in the meantime, let's just deal with the perception issue, the positions that the Nigerians held, and the perception or the impact that created among the Gambian soldiers. How did the Gambian officers and men in the army perceive the role that the Nigerians were to have as part of these arrangements?
Well, they were not they were concerned that positions that they should have been occupying were being taken over by Nigerians, army officers, and they were being denied the opportunity to assume command of their units, important units, and so on.
And what were the arrangements for civilian oversight of the military as at this period in 1994?
Civilian control, civilian oversight at the time was very minimal.
Minimal, you said, right?
Yeah. There was no parliamentary committee. I don't think there was any parliamentary committee on defense and security at the time. And the ministry had no officer posted to the defense headquarters, whereas there was a staff officer from army headquarters to the ministry.
Who was that person at the time?
At the time, I worked with Captain Bojang, Momadou Bojang, and later Captain Samsudin Sar.
And that was a liaison officer, right?
Yeah, basically a liaison officer.
Was that arrangement effective to ensure good coordination and communication between the ministry and the armed forces?
Yeah, to some extent, the staff officer would be the liaison, on operational matters and on logistics. And when it comes to policy issues, it was the permanent secretary who would deal with the army commander.
But were the liaison arrangements effective?
Yeah, I think to some extent, as far as operational matters are concerned, as far as logistical issues are concerned, yeah, it was. I think it was effective.
So, at the time, just give me a moment. Who would be responsible in the ministry? Let me rephrase the question. Did you have sufficiently qualified staff in the military, in the ministry, who would be dealing with the affairs of the military? You have a liaison officer who was a staff officer, fine. Yeah. But that aside, did you have people knowledgeable about an army, or the army for that matter, who are able to address military issues within the ministry?
No, there was a deputy permanent secretary and an undersecretary, but these were civil servants. These were, administrators. We are not specialists in defense matters. We are not specialists on security issues whatsoever.
So essentially, there was sort of a gap in terms of the skill sets necessary for adequate civilian oversight of the military. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yes.
Was this made known at the time to the authorities, say the minister or the president?
Well, I think we inherited a situation, and when I was permanent secretary, and we were going along, we tried to get additional staffing in the ministry, but then you would end up getting more administrative officers. I think what was lacking was a coherent policy on defense that would ensure that the staffing in the ministry would reflect the policy that was put in place.
In fact, do you recall how many staff you had in the Ministry of Defense?
I had, like I said, the deputy permanent secretary and the undersecretary. Then, of course, I had the finance officers and the accountant or assistant accountant, and then we had the clerks and the receptionists. And also, let's not forget, it was not only the Ministry of, we are not only serving the Ministry of Defense. There was also the Office of the Vice President. There was also the Ministry for Women Affairs, dealing with the Women's Bureau, and also Parliament. You know.
In fact, from what you have said, it's like basically you had 3 officers who would deal with policy issues. The accountant wouldn't, the receptionist wouldn't, the secretary wouldn't. So you only have the permanent secretary, the deputy permanent secretary, and the ex-undersecretary to deal with these issues, if I may. That's what you suggested, isn't it? And these 3 people would also have to deal with all matters concerning the office of the vice president.
Yeah, that's correct.
And these 3 people would also deal with all issues concerning the office of women affairs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a yes, I take it.
Yes.
And these same 3 people would have to deal with matters pertaining to the work of the vice president as leader of government business in parliament.
Yes, that's correct.
So
the responsibilities of the office was not at par with the staffing within the office was not at par with the extensive responsibilities that the office of the vice president and the Minister of Defense was assigned.
Here we want to appreciate what were the real problems for the record, of course. And from what you've said, essentially we can glean that not only did you not have the necessary skill sets to address military matters, the personnel you had was also grossly inadequate to deal with the myriad of responsibilities that you were entrusted to at the time. Would that characterize the situation?
Yes, Counsel. I would go along with that, and I would add that the responsibilities of the ministry itself, of the office of the vice president, there was some incongruence, in the responsibilities. Do they dovetail into each other? What women's affairs here, defense there, parliamentary affairs there, there was a lack of synergy, in the way the responsibilities were assigned to the office of the Vice President.
In that case, would you agree, or would you say that the various responsibilities were not given the attention that they deserved?
To some extent, yes.
How about defense? Would it have suffered as a result of the multiplicity of responsibilities given to the Vice President at the time?
I would say that I was more focused on defense and parliamentary affairs, because the women's, as far as women's, ministry was concerned, it was running perfectly well. I mean, you had the Women's Bureau, you had the National Council for Women Affairs, but still the demand on your time and on the resources available to manage, coordinate the activities of such disparate units within the office was a bit too much.
And the army, did they feel neglected as far as you can tell?
No, I don't think they feel neglected. I would say that there was a sense that they were not being provided with the necessary resources that they needed. And it would have been, we could have described it as neglected if the resources were there and they were not, provided, but simply the resources were not there.
Thank you for that. Now let's talk about the other problems that were within the army. We've talked about the political rivalry within the PPP. Did that also have a direct impact on the army, as far as you know?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't see how it could.
How about the issue of political patronage in the army?
Political patronage, it's difficult to say cancelled, but the promotion responsibility for promoting officers was that of the army commander and the commander-in-chief. That was the president. So political patronage.
Well, at this stage, therefore, the vice president, considering that he became Minister of Defense, would he also have any responsibilities with regards to promotion?
Yeah, it goes through the Army Command. Recommendations would just flow through, from the Army Commander to the Minister of Defense and then to the Commander-in-Chief.
As far as you know, was there any political?
No, I was not aware of it.
How about in recruitment?
In recruitment, we live in a society where ministers, at that time, you have to be, a member of parliament before you could be appointed minister. There were a few nominated members. So it was not unusual for politicians to, try and satisfy the requirements of their constituencies. There was a recruitment exercise when the former Vice President Sabali gave a list of people who wanted to join the army. It's just like any other minister looking for jobs for their constituents or their party supporters. So there was one recruitment exercise, and he gave a list to the staff officer to help to see what can be done to help those who wanted to join the army.
How did that unfold, as far as you can tell?
I can't remember, but I know that the staff officer, Captain Sa, reported to me afterwards that the head of the military police at the time, who was Jame, was present at the recruitment exercise and did not like the attempts that were made to recruit people based on a list provided by a politician.
Do you know why he was not happy about that?
No, I don't know.
Was it just the blatant corruption or perceived corruption that comes out of that?
No, I don't think you can call that corruption. Maybe favoritism, rather than corruption.
Do you say the word again?
Favoritism.
And that is not corruption?
Well, you favor someone, give him, look for a job for someone.
That's Gambian, not corruption.
Yeah.
That's how you put it. Thank you very much, Mr. Jack. But Yaya Jammeh was not happy about that.
That's what was reported to me.
In New Gambia, that would be corruption, Mr. Jack.
Yeah?
Yes. Can you tell us, as far as you know, what other problems there were in the army at this time? Let's talk about the command structure, for instance.
The army had responsibility. Can you be a bit clear what you mean by that?
Did the command structure of the army pose a problem? You had earlier on indicated that the Nigerians were in command positions,
yeah.
and that created some dissatisfaction amongst the officer corps. But how about the men? Did the command structure of the army pose a problem to them, as far as you can tell?
Yeah, of course, if the officer corps weren't happy with the command structure, you can imagine that it would filter down to the men. How deep, I wouldn't know, because that was really not the responsibility of the civilian officers in the ministry. But of course, you hear rumors and complaints about what was going on, and you try to bring that to the attention of the political leadership.
And those rumors you would hear, did you hear anything about dissatisfaction on the part of the men regarding the command structure of the army at the time?
Yeah, they were not happy with the Nigerians.
That's good. At this stage, when the Nigerians arrived, Major Mabajob was the Gambian head of the army, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he was the most.
Do you know what happened to him?
The Nigerian commander wanted him out, and I think he wanted him to be dismissed from the army. Maybe they had problems. Remember Job and Dada, but we said no, we are not going. I advised against dismissing him, but it was obvious that he couldn't work with the new army commander. So he was he retired from the army and was deployed to the Gambia High Commission in London as a counselor. He became a diplomat.
Do you know whether that was? Do you know how that was received within the army itself?
Oh, I don't think they were happy at all that he left the army, because he was a popular officer. He was popular, and he had some.
He was popular within the army.
I think so. I would say so.
What was the situation with regards to the, how would I put this, the balance of ethnic groups in the army?
Most of the foot soldiers were from the Fonies, and I don't know the percentage, but most of them were. The vast majority came from the Fonies, I think. Of course, other regions were represented, and the officer corps, there was a spread, say, within the greater Banjul area. Banjul, the combos, you can understand them, because by virtue of the facilities, educational facilities, you know, within this greater Banjul area, I mean, we had people were recruited, you know, I mean, with the educational qualifications coming from the greater Banjul area, and that includes also people from other parts of the country, who come from other parts of the country but living in the greater Banjul area.
Essentially, the officer corps comprised of mainly urbanites, or people from the urban area, or residing in the urban area, and the foot soldiers mainly hail from the Fonies. That was the situation.
Yeah, I think that's a fair description. I may be wrong, but that's...
Ethnic imbalance, you would say. Is that the right way to phrase it?
Let me say regional imbalance, rather than ethnic.
Your statement says ethnic imbalance. Do you want to rephrase that and say regional imbalance?
Yeah, yes.
That's right. How about ethnic rivalries? Did that also find its way in the army?
These are stories, you just hear stories, but you cannot have evidence to prove it. But
yes, you know, we want to hear the stories too.
No, you would hear people complain of, you know, I mean, some that within the army, you know, there were some ethnic groups who are not pulling with each other, and
like which ones?
I don't want to be specific because I was not there. You know, these are just, you know, rumors, and you know.
Indeed, I would imagine that if a rumor would reach the Permanent Secretary Ministry of Defense, a rumor concerning the army would reach the Permanent Secretary Ministry of Defense, there is probably some, at least of some little importance. There would be at least some little importance to that rumor. But nonetheless, we would want to hear these things because the Commission has a responsibility to make recommendations for institutional reform. So if there is anything as ugly as ethnic rivalry, I think it is important for the Commission to know such that recommendations could be made to stamp those things out. So if there were, we'd be happy to hear from you whether, in fact, you did hear about those things.
Well, not being in the army itself, you know, I cannot be specific. You know, I cannot. Specificity is, you know, it is something that I cannot dilate on.
But these are things you've heard about to have been happening in the army. Ethnic rivalries and regional imbalance. Mr.
Yes.
Chair, it's a minute or two before the first break. I hand over to you in the event that you have any questions to ask.
Thank you very much, Council, for that, and thank you, Ambassador Bunjak, for coming all the way from Addis to come and testify before the Commission. Do any members of the Commission have any questions now, or do you want to wait until the end of the day? You do? Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. So there seems to be the consensus here. We would wait until the end of the day testimony to ask my questions. We would take a 30-minute break, come back at sharp 12 noon. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
na broda min ba Europe Mr. Conte nka bo wol kan sai na so kono mano banta jabo banta tulo ban sai ka bol kan da ka ba official kono ba dama bulo mutarin baka ta simpla no ko mbatu ngane ta ya kuriye ma ko dubanti na ngata mano sani tulo ni jam
munda bete ni la broda man balwo service kalam
mon service
balwo service
ni da furonte mo kala
munda afela broda ko abitala internet ol aya ba site la woldo balwo.com nay wo sajje a apo ñu ba download la telephone ol na be sandiro to ni wal na be sirin ala office ko ndama manjar pour ay ta bank ko kodoki abe sirin office ko na daminto ito message so telephone ko no e bitiko be Gambia dawda bitiko ba bele ko ta tano dawda yeta fenko tawo wodama
yala bari wa service na tamol da hannu atanyo le bikan kija na broda ka ko atanyo ayo ko kija
balwo service dinkirala jampo o manken na kolaya ko balwo service al demano kaje ko ale do mor fengol sang alla dimbaya moli ana lakanun tewul wato bela ani wad sudum fanan kono balwo service la dinkiralu ani la do kunyolu e banko karo beto kabirin katon fo koyna nalla fa ko ku ko tan so balwo service la kolto ali commandi telephone la no la melbuko 9400213 7694319 wala 3192870 wala hankabi alta internet oto alila kolu jibe www.baluwo.com.
Ya assalamu alaikum badimolum bale konto na kali bismillah ay Africa television o bundala sina ko fotandal mam yalon ko wala be kala fasar lola karolati membe dendinga Gambia la commission la e mellondi pour ka to nyalan kenama se di ar ko me yalon ko wala sotota non July karo atili muannim fula 1994 kata fo January karo 2017 sango kono alnal badi malem lamin AFFS dabo badingolu bilungola karola CDRO mi yalon ko wala sotota TRRC commission membe Duns Hotel Gambia banko kan momi yalon ko wala nata pour ka ke sedoti wala keta moti mi yalon ko ka to mo SULAYMAN ALIEU jakleti ayitandi ko de atemu molti mi yalon ko awuluta Gambia banko le kan banjul sate o kono July karotil tanni lulu 1948 sango atendenda kayitandi ko karanta dinkramento wole mu Mohammedan Primary School ti bira bota woto anatata Gambia High School damento yalon ko mosafo ko 1961 sangola karola atendenda fanan kayitandiro ke kode ate fanan keda multi mi yalon ko ay londi lafa makama karangoke me yalon ko aketa nu university ti kafo dame ife Nigeria banko kan ana itande ko de 1973 sango new university makamo nyin karango nyin soto tumala men na ay history me mu tariko la karoti anin political science me yalon ko wala local londoti membe dendim political la fannala ako ay wole ke o karan dinkra nyin to Nigeria banko kan ate Mr. SULAYMAN ALIEU Jak atendenda fanan kayitandi ko kabirin abotan wala inata samba dinkrato dam yalon ko wolem Georgetown ti memu makari kumandam banko nyindi pour kata keje commissioner la normalan ko ti memu deputy commissioner ti akon wo makamal ti yalon ko ayo tamandile karin nani wucho nyin kono ako kola inata saundi ka samba doko dinkra doto damento yalon ko wole keta Minister Bunda memmarta bantala banko la kunyala ka me ko external affairs wo watola ako yake assistant secretary ti sanji kile wucho nyin kono atartawo do ko nyin tamandi kan anata tendem fanan kaytandi ko de atekeda molti mi alon ko anata silo soto kata karal lafala pour ka master's degree soto Glasgow University nan ko akeda Angleterre la banko nyine kan anata itandi fanan ko biran abotana o dinkra nyinto 1976 sango akoy nata samba pour ka ke assistant secretary me alon ko president wala office o nyinto pour ka do ko keje atendenda fanan ka itandi ko de president's office anata do ko ke o dinkra nyinto for 1980 sango kabirin tumala menna inata saundi ka samba dinkra to pour minister of water resources kata do ko la je o Minister of Water Resources ayitandi ko de 1981 sango atarra do ko wala o dinkra nyim fananto ala sayinkandroto Mr. SULAYMAN ALIEU Jak atendenda kayitandi ko de ako inata samba pour ka ke commissionati dinkrato dam yalon ko wala mu Georgetown ti anu ay commissioner ya ke je for 1984 sango kono atendenda fanan kayitandi ko Ministry of External Affairs ayake Deputy Permanent Secretary for 1989 sango nyin kono ataraw makamo tamandi kam Ministry of External Affairs wolem Gambia bantala banko kunyal topotor bunda atendenda fanan kayitandi ko nata ke Permanent Secretary me yalon ko wonata ke makamti 1989 sango External Affairs inata Permanent Secretary makamota ka adiala atendenda fanan kayitandi ko de ako watola nyin karo me yalon ko esamba fal wala lead council te nyin karo la karola waya fay ko de barniya jube sanji tang ani woro wucho ate makamu soto me yalon ko wala master's degree ti o kola janni ibakala Permanent Secretary Kamal Lingoti wo keda fendi me alon ko awucho jamfara ate SULAYMAN ALIEU Jak ayitandi ko de ate molti me alon ko watola ana nyon jamal beje akoy nyaton ka kendol soto men yalon ko tarte la kolu topoto kan pour que wana yandino la do ko nyin se faha mo men soto je me yalon ko abe dendin nin tamandiro kenyala do ko kono ako kamala nunto buka si dron ye podi lala kamo tombonka Permanent Secretary makamo diala bara mari nyanda tambila simfa nyal nim bullela men yalon ko wolbe kala fenneti amari la do ko wana ya staraje nyin kamala janni mina plaso sikala ka adiala atendenda fanan ka 50 kede ako nata pour ka nafa basoto mi alon ko wala yiri wala karolati ako permanent secretary office of the vice president inata saundi wodin kranyinto anim fanan me yalon ko o office o nyindum wala fanan minister bunda membe marling tankola karola memu minister of defense ti o doku dlanyin ako anata ke permanent secretary atendenda kaitande kode ako karsabala wucho kono kabirin tuwala menna Gambia banko kanjang kudeta sotota July karo tilimuang animfula 1994 sango ako kabiri wo kudeta nyinketa ako o kola karsaba wucho nyin kono drong moni yalon ko wolem permanent secretary worowlati ako wo sojar olmen ya kudeta ke inate tolta ke ifonyondi doku nyinna atendenda kaitande kode kabri ye tolu retire ni wato menna o sojar mansa kunda mi alon ko alota nin kudeta la silola ako atenada taraje kar fama ma ko kan nin safaro la karola ba atarta wala kono fo nyato anata bo Gambia banko kanjang kada dinkrato dami alon ko wala keta angal terje atendenda fanan ate SULAYMAN ALIEU JAK akode akeda multi meyalon ko kabirin tumala menna atata nu Angleterre ako anada silo soto pour kada do ko ke dinkrato dami alon ko United Nation ila do ko kayra sabandi ko la karola memu UN mission ti ayo ke dingramento wala estimoti anada itandi je fanan ko de anara ke moti meyalon ko ay makamo ta ka tamandi dinkrato dami alon ko woto aketa komen nyaton ko la normalan koti dinkrato dami alon ko ka foje ko Nario district akode anata o makamo nin ta ke tamandi atendenda fanan kaitande ko de Nigeria banko kan anin Cameroon inata ka chocho basoto nalon ko abe dendin nin fanna menna wala mu kenol la karolati ida male nyo saba nyoya kenol la Nigeria nin Cameroon ako mix commission nyin anata bula mol kono me yanko e wala tombong pour kada do ko ke o fanna nyinna atendenda fanan kaitande ko de anada fanan ka harjo soto 2008 kada fo 2011 kama kamo tamani mi alon ko wala senior political advisor ti kam da political la karola drong nyaton ko mi alon ko abetara yamar ko lu to bendi kan ako anada ka ke o makamo tamandi lati anum fanan United Nation laddin kira damento yalon ko wala mu yuna milti wo dafola tundo nyina ako natata purka nyin kaira sabati ndiro nyin la kolu tamandi je atendenda fanan kaitandro ke ko de kol men yalon ko wala be denning makamol la ako ate mbetembo men do bitilo Gambia banko kanjang ako ay makamo men mara wala ambassador ya makamoti banko to damian ko wala Ethiopia de anim fana keda modi mi alon ko Gambia banko United Nation azale modi mi alon ko abestiri yo siraw nyin kan ate Mr. SULAYMAN ALIEU JAK akode 2017 sango watolem Gambia nata nyim makamo diala pour kake ambassador ti Gambia banko e dulato dami alon ko wala Ethiopia ti anada ka nyin garo soto lead council bolu men kada esambay falti pour asisan kandro keno atela miroto munen nara ke sababodi fokudeta soto nora Gambia banko kanjang 1994 July karotil mon aning fula kabiranga tabe diamula SULAYMAN ALIEU JAK akode niya jube atela korosuro men diala wala nyinti ko chocho be commencé ta damento kabrin 1990 sango president Sadauda Karaba Jawara wato membe marlola Gambia banko kan PPP ila parti ya congress ke wala ka nyaton ko tombong membe marla parti la tamandro kenyala ako Sadauda Karaba Jawara anara ke modi mi alon ko mansa kongo ay kankularo ke kode abella filale pour ke daha president makamo la Gambia jang ako bara ke bata batatale ako bari kabri wo ko nyimfo wonara ke fenti mi alon ko mo jamalu manna kontan wo ko nyinna enara ka tondondiro laje ya force fang fola bon la 1992 sango anara dabula carte fayo kono mi alon ko aketa Gambia banko kanjang atentenda ate SULAYMAN ALIEU JAK ako kabiri wo quartier fayo nyin keda nada fanan katenteng pour ka yitandiro ke ko nyo saba nyoya nata dum PPP la patio kuno me yalon ko aketa kuti mo jamal beje ako wato la de mo dol beje bring Sadauda Karaba Jawara yo kankula roke pour ala daha kunyala doliye ila lafi bali ay tandi pour nunto même num vice president o watola men keda Bakar Bunja Dabori pour attestenten ka ke president ako mo jama bije PPP la karola o ko kontano mandula ako 1992 kabrin carte foyo nyimbotal drong president Sadauda Karaba Jawara anata ka falindroke ala mansa kundala makamola mi alon ko wolem vice president makamoti anata di mola mi alon ko wole keda Seku Sabalti ako ni ajube Seku Sabali minister bunda men fana marta musolla ko topotoro bundala enado makamo fana kafama ani minister men fana marta bankola tanko nyin na karola memo minister of defense ti ako yo fana la fala makamo kan ako fana momi yalon ko mansa kundala karola kamara divide bonla tamandir kanol ako an atake moti mi yalon ko o place o fana ya ata ka kafu ate Seku Sabal la place olma abe menu marakanu Gambia banko kan jang atendenda wole nyama Sulayman Alieu Jak ka 50 ke kode janning atara ko Seku Sabali ba kala nu ministati me alon ko amarta tanko bundala memu defense ti anim vice president kake bankola place makamo fulanjaw nyin na fo dunnati ako atem molti mi alon ko anara kitio sotonum anin journalist do ka me ko Sana Jawara ani o tata num kitiyala nyin kamala ko ya foko de wayata tumile ko adabulata nin tapale a dolel kono me yalon ko aketa corruption odi ako dum o kitiyo nyin Seku Sabali atema vice president makamo nena man diala o place o nyin kitiyo nyin kono atema na kawo kanye bari inataje ko de kumang soto luala karola me o journalist o nyin muta warando ka aitande ko aboytale kuolto me yalon ko wala tambita o kitiyo nyin kunna ala 50 to fanan anata itandro ke kode 1992 kabirin president Sadauda Karaba Jawara ay tombondi roke vice president makamo ka falin ka boni Bakar Bunja Dabo bulu ka dundi Seku Sabali bulu ako keda fendi mi alon ko ako nyo daba kunku ware onyi nata sia PPP party onyi na karola nyin kamala ko molbe nyo ju kele kan palaso la karola surtout nin Sadauda Karaba Jawara botaje bari wato kabirin kato faytae ko ala sanjilu labang amina wol tamandila ako kono dron jamfa jamal sotota mi alon ko aketa damma kuollete PPP damal la man sakunda nyaton kol tema anum fanan anada itandro ke kode abe keta fenneti mi alon ko mosafu ko Gambia banko la tariko 1994 22nd July akudeta la soto akamda ko ninkumu adimbala cengo faye ke no tunkan nati newolla ye membula kono wala nyindi ko ko be la kurkuru ala sembe soto ako adate tan wo wato la kabirin tumala menna makamol dita mola me yalon ko wala vice president ya makamodi ani minister mem marta tanko bunda mem minister of defense ti ani fana musolla al halol la topoto nya mem women's affairs ti o be mu fenede me yalon ko ya be kafu nyoma ya di Seku Saballa Gambia banko kanjang ako nada ke sababodi kelo mi alon ko atarta PPP la maral nyaton ko jamal tema wonata wajabino fo Gambia nara anyayele kudeta kono men sotota July karo telimo hanen fula 1994 badingolu santem be tembo men to dron be dannali jang bare nin tenten keta me yalon ko wolbe dendim bi CDR dinarola ka bonan Sulayman Alieu Jak bulu fengo ferendi natara ko ade o kalmo ay wala 5 bi abeba futalal male nasiola wuce fulanjaw nyin kono damento yalon ko ma be jaba kese woto lali kaytan dal la dron PPP nyaton kolu ila o senyola karola me yalon ko asotota ila maral nyaton kol tema dron womu dulate dami alon ko be palantero nyintala dron ka sembende foni murta nang siela wuce fulanjaw nsina tente mun kulel kera anin al halolu me alon ko abe dendin nin CDR la karola ala baraka bake foni natale nyato domanding alnal badim malem lamin AFFS dabo nsitanna studio to dron damen to alon ko wolen Duns Hotel TRRC ala baraka.
diwli lanni maaro lanni
fop lanni
awa joni mi anda honno guerdeten e ngal ɗo sabu e ngal ɗo ibrahima jonnal taw joni mi anda se yahay ka pitiki ñawloɗen ha humpodire e makko est ce que on noon e warude
waɗen noon awa ane kode ibrahima ma ko to woni
mimo amérique
ko amérique a woni kadi humpitaki fiɓe musidɓe men baluwo
baluwo
ɓe andanɗa kala ko wawɗa wonde e aduna o si a rewi e juuɗe maɓɓe a jonnay ɗo dépassement o gambia hara no weeɓi a yahata kadi taw ko mbuɗi ɗi no ƴawi walla no jippi ɓe haalantama ko kala ko falɗa ko sengo ñamete ili nebba maaro basal pomme de terre kala ko rewi ɗon a hendoto hara no weeɓi kadi wona ɗum ɗon tum ɓe jonnira e mobile phone siko ɗum kadi laptop kala ko wayrode ɗi hay kasbawa ɓe wawma jonnude kadi sa fala humpitade ko weeɓi ƴettu google account ma on joni data ton waɗa download app maɓɓe on ayiyay kala ko humpima e maɓɓe ton ɓe weeɓi yama
ka wonɗa wo e aduna on
kala ko wawɗa
a jonnanayi wonɗo ka leydi men gambia ɗo dépense
hara no weeɓi hama si ɗum non fof no neeɓi immoɗen joni mi ɗowtama ka place maɓɓe jan
waɗen joni
iya heɓa ko falata
waɗen kisam
Fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country.
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations,